Anything which is permissible by law, we are going to engage. But we're also ready to go and push the boundaries a bit further. But we're going to be acting in the interests of the well-being of the citizens of Uganda. Now, many of these questions are actually directed at the wrong person. You ask me questions about the behavior of somebody, and there's somebody who has great authority over that person. Who's the one to act? If you said, if that was your son, what would you do? That's a different question. Very different question. If that was my son, what would I do? This is a public office. And I've tried to plead on this basis that you are making things difficult for even those who love and care for you. You make it very difficult. You mentioned it's crossing borders. We are the shame of East Africa. Uganda is the shame of East Africa. You mistreat Martha Karua as pillar in East Africa. You're not satisfied, you go for Miriam, Matembe. We are ashamed. And that is where a lot of that question happens. Who is in charge? Who is really in charge? Because this is beyond an office, beyond, it's affecting the whole country. It's affecting our relationship with neighbors. We are the laughingstock. The whole world has looked at this issue. What are we doing about it? I can complain, but I have no authority over the person in that office. So what you should be asking is, where is the president as far as this is concerned? Mr. President, where are you? Where are you? We are all Ugandans. We all have our concerns. There are those who are scared of speaking their concerns. I am ready to speak their concerns, but where are we going as a country? So rather than address it to some of us, you should be addressing the president. And there I will agree with Salam. Let us address the president. If I sit with the president, I say, Mr. President, things are going wrong. It's going wrong. And if it goes wrong, where are we supposed to go? Where are we supposed to go? I've been in exile before. People think exile is an easy thing. It's not. It's not. The same as reading about people going to jail, the trauma which you go through, there are things which you cannot explain until you go through it. But this is our country. All of us should be able to say, for God and my country, what are you prepared to do for your country? For me, I'm prepared to do what I can do for my country. And until they stop me, I'll have to do it without apology. We should get out of this issue. We are all human beings. Muhoozi, son of a president. I was born son of a president. Many of these people, whatever, I was born when he was president. But I've spent most of my life outside as a son of a former president. It's a very different issue. Very different. And there's no presidency which is forever. You are going to be a son of a former president at some point, and now you're going to have to come to a different level and interact with others also. This country, people who you are mistreating, you have to live amongst them. Or you think this isolation and this security thing, locking down places is going to remain forever. I've spent most of my life outside of those trappings, but I've lived in those. I can address myself. I can move freely amongst people because of the conduct of those who came. So, choices have to be made, and those choices, many of those choices are not asked to make. It is those in the first family to make the choices which is going to benefit them, but where we are concerned is when it affects Uganda. If you choose whether or not you're going to solve these other issues, that's yours. But for Uganda, I must speak. For your own benefit, it's up to you whether you decide to do it. What I can assure Muhoozi, there's no presidency forever. When you're a son of a former president, life may be very difficult. Prepare for it. Now, if talking alone was not changing things, why are they after Miriam Matembe? Was Miriam Matembe carrying guns? She talked. She spoke her mind. And there are those who get uncomfortable when people speak their mind. What was Martha doing? Her work. Martha Karua was doing her work. So, talking is the weapon which we have. And we must exercise it. And talking, I will not just say talking is just talking. How did God make the world? He spoke. He spoke the word. So I will speak the word. I will speak justice in Uganda. I'll speak freedom. I'll speak hope. I'll plant those seeds. Let us plant those seeds. Seeds of hope. Seeds of a future which works for us. That they cannot stop me. They will not stop any of us from doing that, and that's what we're going to do. I am not interested in killing anyone. I'm not interested in putting anyone in a basement. I'm not interested in locking anybody up. I'm interested in Uganda which works for all of us, irrespective of our parties. Where we can respect one another, we can do our politics. That's a Uganda. And what do we do about it? We'll speak about it. We'll write. We'll do anything. We'll continue, but we'll work within the law. But those who think they're going to cower us into becoming some whimpering of people who are not good, I'm not going to be part of those ones. I've said I'm not ready to go into the future on my knees. I won't go on my knees. So if there's only to speak, I'll speak. But clearly, speaking is offending people. Speaking alone is offending people. Those who are writing are being offended. Kalejira. There are many others who are affected by speaking. But there are certain fears I have. The last stanza of our national anthem. O Uganda, the land that feeds us, by sun and fertile soil grown, for our own dear land, we will always stand. The pearl of Africa's crown. Often we go through these things, we don't take them to heart because we've been singing them, you know. But suppose you're standing there before God, if AKENA is standing there before God, and then they display these hundreds of Ugandan children who were malnourished or who died during the wars which were being talked about and often buried in unmarked graves. What am I going to say before God? I had the knowledge, I had the ability, we had the party which defined this issue, but what am I going to say before God when I'm put before the Ugandans who died unnecessarily? The Ugandans who are dying in these clinics because there's no medicine, the doctors are not being equipped or they're not being catered for. What am I going to say? Uganda is actually the most blessed country I've ever lived in. And we have 26% of our children malnourished. What am I going to say before God? Or can I even say that I love God, yet I know in Uganda there are children who are starving. There are children who are being abandoned. And that's the measurement of a Christian. In the Bible, there says, how can you say you love God and your neighbor, who you can see, is suffering and you ignore? Children are starving. Political players are being terrorized, being pushed to the point where they should be quiet. I will not be able to stand before God and say, oh, I was too scared. No. I fear God more than I fear these ones. I fear God much more. And that's where you can say, oh death, where is your sting? Where's your sting? I will die, yes. But let me die with a good conscience. Let me die having worked for my country. Let me die having contributed and made a difference. Even if I might have not solved anything, I might have made a difference to make it better for somebody. Us in the Uganda People's Congress are standing on the side of justice, on the side of truth, and on the side of politics, which is free. We talk about East African integration. I think the president has been so much on East African integration and the need for these East African countries to come together. Now we have an opportunity to demonstrate where you have a long-standing professional in both politics, in legal matters, and across East Africa is coming to represent a Ugandan who is innocent until proven guilty. This professional comes and lands in Uganda, and because somebody feels that this person does not need representation or this person should not come to Uganda, us as Ugandans face the embarrassment of deporting a great international jurist or a great international figure who has stood on the side of justice for a lifetime. This is the future which Uganda has. We're making news for the wrong reason. We talk about integration, but we're trying to disintegrate even our own country. We're disintegrating our own politics. This is not the Uganda we aspire for. This is not the Uganda which we live for. Ugandans must work for Uganda. Our politics must be free. We cannot be having our leaders in jail, and we're here speaking to the media time and time again, yet the thing continues to repeat itself. We cannot, as Ugandans, we cannot continue in this direction. And those in authority need to act. Uganda should not be a laughingstock of all the nations. Our politics should not be a laughingstock. Let us be honest with one another. Let us be free with one another. Let us be empathetic to one another. Uganda is bigger than all of us. We all have our different views or different positions. But we should be able to do our politics openly in Uganda. So as UPC, we are going to continue to push for the politics. We're going to continue to push for the freedom. We're going to continue to speak even when we're told that this is not the right thing to say. It has to be said. What we have is a capture of an office which is being abused. We have a capture of a government which is being abused. I even have sympathy at some stage to the judiciary. How do you dispense justice under threat? But this country must work. So as politicians and as a political player, I will do everything in my power to see that this happens. I'll stand together with my colleagues and we will fight this matter until in the end the people of Uganda are free and are able to practice their politics without interference. Until that day comes, let us remain firm. Let us speak the truth to power.
For those of us who have been here for some time, I was here during Amin's regime. I was here during Oboteto's regime. I was young during Obote's regime. What I have observed is that the ugly head of our bad history, the ugly evil of our bad history is rearing its head. When you see what is going on today, when Parliament is being attacked, when judiciary is being attacked, when the executive is captured by one individual, you realize that the country is destined to a stateless country. It is very, very unfortunate. What is going on today is not about denying Dr. Kizza Besigye or Lukwago Erias a bail. What is going on today is to silence all the voices that should have come out to speak. And a few years from now, nobody is going to be holding a press conference like this if this one continues. But my strong caution to the government, to those in government, is that the moment people keep quiet, the moment people fail to vent, when they vent out, nobody is going to survive. They will not have control on what is going to happen when people who have kept silent for some time decide to now go and express their views after they have kept quiet for a long time. What happened in Sudan is the same as what is happening today. There was a time when in Sudan you could not speak as a politician, and they think they will succeed in silencing us. But the moment we shall react, the moment the country shall react, this country shall sink into anarchy. And that is what we are trying to avoid. So what they are doing is not only to deny Dr. Kizza Besigye, is not to incarcerate the NUP supporters, but they are trying to silence the whole country so that by the time Muhoozi comes, nobody shall have the guts to speak out. That is very dangerous for a community. The moment they realize that, what they do, nobody can confront it. So I'm just, amplifying, I'm just echoing what my colleagues have said to caution, more especially General Muhoozi, that he cannot do what he's doing and succeeds. He cannot succeed it with the Ugandans. It cannot even succeed anywhere else in the world. History has said it, and it cannot change.
We strongly condemn the arrests and deportation of Senior Counsel Martha Karua at Entebbe International Airport yesterday. Counsel Karua is the lead counsel for the leader of the People's Front for Freedom, Dr. Kizza Besigye, and Obedi Lutare's case. She traveled to Uganda to stand in solidarity with her deputy lead counsel, Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago, who is the president of this party, who was recently abducted by the Chief of Defense Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. Mr. Lukwago was later dumped at Chirad Division Police Station and to date has been denied bail by a compromised judiciary despite his documented health challenges. Instead of being allowed to execute her professional mandate, Counsel Karua was declared persona non grata. State agencies seized her phones and forcibly removed her from the country. This action is extremely shameful and it's a contradiction for a government that publicly champions the East African community while simultaneously closing its borders to a senior legal practitioner from a sister state. It is also a direct attempt to collapse and intimidate the legal defense team representing Dr. Besigye. We demand the following: an immediate reversal of the declaration of Senior Counsel Martha Karua persona non grata. We all know how some such declarations are made, and they are not made by the CDF because it came from the CDF, the Chief of Defense Forces, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, that Martha Karua will not be allowed into this country. We don't know when the CDF has ever got the mandate, the legal mandate, to influence the state this way. And when we had it, we thought it was a joke because it is illegal. But when it came to pass, then it is the CDF who must have masterminded it. The immigration officials should know that it is a process to declare an individual a persona non grata in one state. And therefore carrying out an illegal command from the CDF is also illegal in itself. So our demand is that government should make an immediate reversal of this because it's going to embarrass Uganda in the context of the East African community. We all know that her property was seized, especially her communication gadgets. And it is unknown what they did to those communication gadgets, as you know. She could have left them with them purposefully, because you cannot know what they did to their communication gadgets. Maybe they want to frame her as well to include her on the file, on the treason file they are charging Dr. Besigye as well. Because they have no reason to declare an international law practitioner of that personality a persona non grata. No way. It's a very big embarrassment to the NRM government. It's a big embarrassment to Uganda. Ugandans, we are so ashamed that we are led by a cabal, a people that cannot understand the ramification of such declaration in the East African community or even globally. We demand an end to judicial and security interference with the right of Dr. Besigye and all accused persons to legal representation of their choice. We all have to make our own choices, and the state cannot stop me from choosing whoever legal counsel is going to represent me. You cannot direct anybody to represent anybody. It is their choice, and you have got the freedom to that choice. So for Dr. Besigye to choose Martha Karua to represent him as lead counsel, and Erias Lukwago as the deputy lead counsel, it is his choice. And we shall discuss their intentions in just in a moment. We would believe that Uganda should be committed to the rule of law, the regional integration, and the legal profession must be more than a rhetoric. Targeting lawyers and undermining the justice system should not be allowed. And everybody must stand up to this and fight it actively.